Can you hear me out there?
Hey, yeah, I can hear you.
Great. So today we're going to be talking about freedom of speech. Are you able to see me right now?
No, not really. It's just dark here, just black.
Mhm.
Oh, now I can see you.
There we go. Okay. This is my first time from a new location, so it's kind
Okay.
of a little bit different. So yeah, today we're
It's
going to talk about freedom of speech.
okay.
Do any of you guys out there know what freedom of speech is, what it means?
Well, I think that means that you're allowed to speak. Like, you can speak when you want to speak.
Yeah, when you want to, and the freedom of speech. Also, the freedom to express yourself in other ways, not only verbally, not only with speech, but to show what you think in other ways, in behavior, actions,
Oh yeah.
in the press, in audio, video.
Mm-hmm.
So we can actually say that this video chat is a freedom of speech expression.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a really interesting and important topic to discuss now because a lot of people don't like the freedom of speech. A lot of people want to limit the freedom of speech, and they want to tell us that we can't say some things that maybe we should be able to say.
Mm-hmm.
What about in the places where you live, the people who are watching right now? In your countries, in your hometowns, home cities, home countries, do you have limits on freedom of speech, or do you have some kind of special law or legislation about freedom of speech?
Well, as far as I know, we don't have any laws that, like, well, everything is allowed. We have the freedom of speech, and we're not. We got the word for.
Wait, can you look at me?
So we don't have any laws that запрещают. We got the word.
So this is Bulat talking right now, right?
Yes, that's me.
From Russia.
From Russia, yeah.
So no laws that forbid something. But
Forbid something, yeah. As far as I know, but I mean.
Forbid?
Forbid, yeah, I'll write it in the chat. To forbid.
Shut up.
Hey, I think we should ban that thing.
What's your name?
My name is Chris, and I am talking to you from the United States of America right now.
You speak loud?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I don't know. Nothing.
Okay. So maybe there is a law, or actually, I heard something about Russia, Bulat, since we were talking with you.
Yeah.
I heard that in Russia, actually, it's against the law to say something that is offensive to someone else's religious beliefs.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes, that is the law, I think.
But that's really confusing for me because
You speak with me or him?
maybe someone could believe something very strange and be offended by something that I say or do, and I don't even know about it, you know?
Oh, well, I don't know how it is determined whether it's offensive or not, but I think there is a law, as far as I remember.
Talking to live? You're talking to live?
Let's see. Someone doesn't understand what's happening, it looks like.
Hey.
Street.
You understand me?
Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm from Kosovo.
Kosovo. Great. Yeah. What about in your country? Are there laws about freedom of speech?
I don't know.
You don't know? Maybe you know a term PC, or politically correct.
Mhm.
This term is kind of a dangerous thing today because a lot of people think that you need to always speak correctly, politically correctly, and a lot of people think that you shouldn't say some words. There are some words or phrases that if you say them, a lot of people will get angry at you, or you could even lose your job.
Okay, okay. I understand.
But it's not like a law, right? It's like
Who are you? She barely.
It's not a law. It's just a general convention in society.
Right.
A lot of people follow this.
of
Yes.
course, yeah.
But you talking the live?
Sorry, didn't understand you, Astrid.
I talk with you live?
Yes. So today we're going to see some videos, watch some videos that are aimed at this topic, that discuss,
Okay.
the problems with freedom of speech today, and actually how
I
a lot
like
of
to
people,
know what time is it?
how a lot of people want to stop the freedom of speech, want to get rid of the freedom of speech.
Okay.
So that's something that I think is a problem in today's society. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you, actually. Yeah. What kind of videos are you gonna show us today?
Some different videos from YouTube that it's mostly just people who challenge this idea of political correctness, and people who challenge the idea that you shouldn't say things. I actually found a lot of videos that tell people that they should be offensive, that they should offend people. I'm going to write this word in the chat for everyone. Offensive. It's like rude. Let's see. Olga wrote in the chat, Chris, we have freedom, but
see
we
me?
can't insult a person in public.
You see me?
For example, person might get a punishment.
You see me?
Could we ban this boy?
Actually,
Done.
Chris, you can just kick him out of the room.
Done, done, done. Unfortunately, we had to limit his freedom of speech, but sometimes it happens, right? Yeah. So we're going to talk about different freedoms of speech, well, words and phrases that people can say or can't say, or what kind of emotional reaction it makes other people feel or have when someone uses this type of language. If anybody else wants to discuss this topic, you're free to speak with us right now. Just turn on your microphone and you'll be able to. So while we're waiting for some people to join us, we're going to take a look at some pictures that also describe this topic. So actually at a lot of universities today in the United States, people have decided that they need to make rules to prevent other people from saying words that they don't like. A lot of these words are things like bad words about gays, bad words about different races or ethnic groups, bad words about people who are too fat or too skinny, or who have a strange appearance, people who have different religious beliefs or political beliefs. So someone who feels very strongly about this might become offended and might feel uncomfortable when other people use these words. But who really draws the line? Who really makes this decision? for me, it's really a difficult question because I think that a lot of times I want to express my opinion about something, and in order to be politically correct, or if I'm expressing myself online or on in an interview on TV, then I need to really think ahead and understand what I'm saying before I say it, so that I don't offend someone. And still, I might offend someone. I remember one time I was speaking at a school, and I made a comment that some of the female students might not completely understand what I'm talking about, because this thing was more about men, or more for male students. And I remember that there was one other American speaker there, and she looked at me like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you just said that," as if it was offensive to girls, that there are topics that boys like and there are topics that girls like, that this is impossible, that I have to pretend that all topics are equally interesting to both men and women. So this kind of stuff can make it very difficult for people who speak publicly. I see that everyone has turned off their microphones, unfortunately. No one wants to talk out loud with me today, but you can continue to write in the chat. I'm going to take a look at what you've written there.
We are just waiting, Chris.
Yeah.
When you finish.
Waiting for my permission. Oh, well, you have my permission to speak. You have my permission to interrupt. Actually, you have freedom of speech.
Are you sure? We can be insulting that.
You can insult me all you want. It might be fun.
I wanted to say that here in Russia, they say that we have freedom of speech, but still, as you were right, you should be politically correct, or you should just try to be polite and not to offend people while expressing your opinion. So you can express whatever you want, just be careful not to insult people.
And what happens if you insult someone?
I guess you can go to the court and say that it was personal insult, and then they will judge you probably. But it never happened to me, so I cannot tell definitely.
I don't know. When I think of Russia and opinions of people in Russia, I don't really think that Russia is one of the most tolerant countries in the world.
Of course not, but it's said in Constitution that we have freedom of speech, you know. That's why I thought they say that we have, but we'll see what can happen. You know, actually, one of my friends, she had a not funny, actually, case with her husband when they showed him on TV, his picture, and they told the name of absolutely another person, criminal, you know, who was judged and pursued here in Russia. And they were showing him, you know, like he's having fun and nice vacation, blah, blah, blah. But it was not that person. It was her husband. And she applied to the court, but she didn't win anything, you know. It was impossible because she was judging with NTV, Russian TV channel. She was, you know, against them. And it was not possible to beat them in the court. So she got nothing, no result. But it was kind of personal insult, let's say, you know. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They lied about this. So freedom exists. They can tell whatever they want and show it on TV, and you can do nothing with that.
Right. As usual, it depends on what connections you have and how powerful you can be, right? So, yeah, there are some situations like this. What about other situations where just, for example, recently there have been several cases in the United States where a popular figure, pop culture, pop icon, says something that's either considered racist or just not in good taste, and this is promoted all over the internet. A lot of people see it, and a lot of people hear it, and a lot of people react very emotionally, and they say that this is terrible. How can this person say this? And they want some retribution, some kind of punishment for this person. Right, Ivan says, burn them on the bonfire, right? Like, or we usually say, Ivan, burned them at the stake like a witch. Yeah, so this does happen. And the most recent one, just yesterday I read something and I couldn't believe it, that people get so riled up, people get so emotional about some things like this. Like, so a couple, I don't know when it happened, I think a few days ago, there was a former Playboy model who posted something on Snapchat. Probably you know what this is. It's another social media application that you have on your phone, and you usually post something and it disappears after 24 hours or something like that. Anyways, it's not supposed to be there forever, but we all know that, of course, it is. But a lot of people believe that it doesn't stay there forever. So she posted something on her Snapchat that said, oh, it was a picture of her in the gym, and behind her there was a naked woman who had a large body, and she posted a comment, I can't unsee this, so you can't unsee it either. And a lot of people around the country started writing and saying, this is so terrible. How can she criticize that woman, and how can she say these things about the woman's body, and saying that woman must feel so bad right now, and it wasn't her choice for everyone on the internet to see her like this. And of course, there's two different sides to the story. I think there's the fact that she posted this picture of the woman, and actually the woman was naked in this picture. So she broke the law when she did this. But on the other hand, just saying that someone's fat, is that really so offensive that we should ban it, or that we should create such a large situation? After this happened, sorry, go ahead.
It can be really offensive, and some people can't tolerate when they hear that about themselves. So let's speak that people can do something harmful with themselves even. We have no idea why that person is fat. Maybe it's some kind of sickness. That person is unhappy already. Every morning that person wakes up and just think, I don't want to be like that, but I can do nothing. So when that person hear from someone that he looks bad or just fat anyway, so that person, may commit something harmful, I guess. They are usually very depressive people.
But I don't know what you think, but I think that if someone chooses to hurt themselves, that's not the fault of another person who said something to them. That's that person's personal choice.
Just partly.
You think that other people are responsible for your actions too?
Not fully, no, just partly, because that person just, how to explain that, very sensitive. And
right.
Another person could just help, let's say, to commit that.
But in the end, only the person who does this action can be held responsible for these actions, no?
But I disagree. I think partly. Both of them can be guilty.
It's very dangerous. Who knows what someone might do after watching my video or listening to me speak, and then I'm responsible for that.
Oh, come on.
It reminds me of the same situation that it was about 10 years ago or so. Eminem, the rapper, went to court because someone had committed an act of violence similar to one that he had described in one of his songs, and they tried to take him to court and say that he was partially responsible for this because he had spoken about it on his recordings.
Well, public people should think. They do it absolutely in public. They have to just consider every situation that can happen.
But can you imagine a world where every public person has to say the things that everyone tells them to say? they have no freedom to speak, and watching them and listening to them will be really boring.
Yeah. But still, I don't know. We don't like this way, we don't like another way.
Yeah. So for me, I think that people should be able to say these offensive things. They should have the right to say them, and maybe when they say them, it also helps us to understand why that's offensive, and how we need to just change the mentality of the public in general. Or maybe it will help us to change some things that currently exist, because we understand that some people like this and some people don't. Really, if you're not allowed to say anything offensive, then how can you show that you strongly disagree with something? Or how can you express your personal views when you are different from the group? So I'm going to show some more pictures. Here we have another picture. It says, "That's so retarded." Now, retarded or retard has been listed as one of those words that's not politically correct, and for some reason comes up on all of these lists that you shouldn't say this word. What do you think? Do you know this word? No? Nobody knows this word? Retarded? It
I
means
know.
that...
Well, in my language, oh, sorry, Olga.
Yeah, come on.
In my language, actually, this word is addressed to a person who has some mental sickness. I don't know if in English is the same.
Yeah, it's about being slow.
Mm-hmm. So this is if you say this to someone, meaning that he is slow, this word is kind of offending. I get it right?
Yeah, it's offensive.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
But I think that a lot of, but the problem here is that often in American English and in spoken English, sometimes we could maybe say that it's slang. I can say that's retarded. It means like that's a stupid idea. I don't agree with this idea. Or maybe somebody did something that was really, that I think is kind of stupid, and I can say, man, that's retarded. You're retarded. And it's like a joke, but it's also saying that I don't agree or I think that's stupid. And so people who speak in public, they can't make this kind of statement. They can't say, I think that the other politician's proposal is retarded. If they say this, then people will criticize them and say that this wasn't politically correct and they offended people who really are retarded. But I don't know. For me, sometimes I say this just, that's a retarded story. That's a retarded idea. Yeah.
Yeah, my first thought looking at this, that's so retarded. First, what came in my mind before mental sickness, it was like you say this about something old-fashioned or some, I don't know, that's so retarded. Like, oh, this is so old-fashioned.
Yeah, we usually just use it to mean that it's stupid or we don't like it or something. Mm-hmm. Let's see. There's another one. Illegal aliens. Now, an illegal alien, what is that? You probably know that an alien is from another planet, but an alien can also describe a person from another country. And an illegal alien, yeah, a migrant, exactly.
Refugee, yeah.
A refugee, refugee,
Yeah.
refugee. Yeah. So, but an illegal alien or an illegal immigrant is a person who enters the country illegally and then lives there illegally without correct documentation. But to me, this seems like just a standard term for the person who does this. I don't really understand how this can be offensive. But they say now that it's not politically correct and that people shouldn't use this term. What do you think?
I think if the executive or some boss say that it's rules, your behavior have to be different. You have to obey.
Mm-hmm. So it depends on what your boss says.
Yeah, it depends of country, it depends of law, it depends of organization. It's everything starts with a little group of people. It's some kind of.
But couldn't we also say that illegal immigrants are disrespectful towards the country that they illegally immigrate to?
Yeah, why not?
So using a disrespectful term for people who are disrespecting others, again, I really don't see how it's
No,
so
I don't
bad.
agree with this because you know, you see, you don't know how life it is. So one day you can get in another country. So someone can call you one day illegal alien. And you should think about it because you would not like, yeah, they are maybe disrespectful coming in your country, illegal, but you don't have the right to offend them. There are many other ways to express yourself than offending other people, I guess.
But why don't we have the right to offend people?
Because
They
in my country, we have a saying, don't do to another what you don't like that someone do with you.
Yeah, we have the
Something
same in
kind of
English.
like this.
Yeah, in English we say do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I agree that from this perspective, yeah, we should do the same that we want the people do to us. But on the other hand, people offend me all the time, so why shouldn't I offend them too?
You should be higher than this.
Be bigger than this, be above this.
Ignoring, yeah, being above this and ignoring them is the best way to show them that they're lower than you are, or how to say it right. I don't know.
Yeah, they're below you. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what offends them. So I think that, like I said before, I think that some offensive language and offensive behavior also helps us to think about something in a different way. And especially some of these phrases that I'm showing you now, they are kind of like standard phrases in society that people use all the time, and they only recently have been thought of as being inappropriate. Here's another example.
Chris, basically, I think everything that is related to appearance and nationality can be offensive.
But it's true though. Someone does appear this way, and someone is from this place. So the things that you say are actually true. So I just showed you a picture on the screen, two different phrases that people very often say in modern spoken English. That's so gay. This is very similar to that's so retarded. Like, I don't agree with it, that's stupid, I don't like it. But of course, gay has another meaning, and so some people think that this could be offensive. The second phrase that we see up on the screen is no homo. I use this phrase a lot when I say something, and the phrase that I say could be understood in two different ways. You could understand it in the way that I mean to say it, and you could also understand it with some kind of sexual connotation. And after saying a phrase like this, then we say the phrase no homo to mean that I'm not talking about this in the sexual way. I'm talking about it in the usual way. I don't know. For example, we can say, John is an easy person to understand, but I'm hard. No homo. So in this case, we use this phrase to mean something different, but technically it could be offensive to someone. In general, there are a lot of offensive words and offensive things that people do or say towards gay, homosexual, lesbian people and groups. And what do you think about that? Is that okay, or is that also something that should be limited and controlled by the law? What's your opinion? Anybody out there still trying to talk?
I don't feel like we can share our opinion about someone's sexual preferences, for example. It's absolutely personal, and it's not my business what kind of people this person prefers. I just think it's something absolutely personal. I can't just enter their private territory.
I agree, but somehow they tell us about their preference.
Yeah.
So, like, I agree with you. It's not my business. So why do they tell me about it?
I'm not sure they actually tell you that so freely. Just imagine a situation. How and why they decided to tell you that.
Well,
why did they tell you?
There are some situations where they say, well, I'm gay, so I think this, or maybe organize a gay parade.
It's like they are trying to explain something, like I did it because I'm a gay, for example.
For example, or think of a gay parade, for example. Like, it's a bunch of people walking down the street telling everybody their sexual preference.
You should ban them.
It would be really strange, I think, if I got a lot of my friends and walked down the street and had a parade and said, I like women, I like women.
I agree with Satya. We should ban such parades because they just provoke people.
Yes, and after that, they are asking themselves why they're criticized, why they're, I don't know, kind of persecuted or something like this. But they're provoking all this. I mean, I'm not against them. I have nothing to do with them as long as they live their life how I do. Because I'm not taking my husband to walk in the street and scream that we are heterosexual, for example.
Yeah. So here's another phrase that some people find offensive for some reason. That exam just raped me.
Actually, that's a funny one. I use that too.
So it uses a bad situation to overemphasize what happened to you or the result of this exam, right? But it could be offensive to someone who actually went through this thing, not in a metaphoric sense, but in a real way. This actually happened to them. Do you think that it's offensive and that people shouldn't say it?
Well, you never know if that with someone or not. So you just say this phrase to your friend, for example, and it's absolutely normal. And if someone just heard that, well, my bad maybe, but I didn't know it happened with this person. I didn't want to hurt this person. So I think we have freedom to say that.
All right. Now I'm going to put on some videos that also describe this situation, and we'll discuss them.
Hi, I'm Craig, and this is Crash Course Government and Politics. And today we're... You can't. All right, we're trying to talk about free speech. Shut up. Let's get started and see if we can figure out what the limits of free speech are.
So this is kind of the thing that we've been discussing today. What are the limits of free speech?
Assuming that there are some. There aren't. That's a lie. But I'm free to say that. There are two really important things to remember about the First Amendment protection of free speech. The primary reason to have freedom of speech is to allow for public criticism of the stupid government. Stupid government. That's
Stupid government. So yeah, that's the first reason why freedom of speech came about in the United States, was to criticize the government. Do you think that citizens should be allowed to criticize the government of their country?
They do it anyway.
Of course.
Unless how they can show their disagreement with
They
something.
should do it.
Mhm.
They should do it. They should be allowed to do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, sure.
what do you think,
This
Cam?
is kind of a sign of democracy in that country.
A sign of what?
Like not a sign, but like an element of democracy when when journalists can criticize the government. If that doesn't exist, in my opinion, that country is not kind of democratic country. If people are afraid to say their opinion about the government, this is something that we should be allowed because we give them our votes. So this is kind of, we have to be given the right to do it.
Yeah. And if people don't agree with something, they should express that, right?
Yes, I guess.
So joining me now is my brother, Cameron.
Hi, Cameron.
Hi, Cameron.
Cam, what do you think about freedom of speech? That's our topic today that we're discussing. We're talking about how some like racist phrases or offensive words and different stuff like that might offend people, but maybe it's okay to say this, maybe it's not. What do you think? Do people at your school say offensive things?
Yeah, everyone says offensive things. I think people just choose and shouldn't take offense to what other people say because it's their right to say it.
For example, what do people say?
I mean, they say like the N-word to black people.
Really?
Yeah.
In an offensive way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what's the reaction usually?
They get really mad, have a fight or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what about other stuff like religion? Do you have any problems with people who like have a different religion at your school and other people are offensive towards them?
No. I mean, some kids joke around, but they shouldn't joke around about it, about like Muslim people.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Why shouldn't they?
Because they just think that everyone that has the same religion does the same stuff that some people do.
Like what? Like terrorist attacks?
Terrorism, yeah.
Uh-huh. What about fat people?
About
Is it wrong to say that someone's fat?
No.
It's not wrong? Why not? It might offend them.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't come out and say it, but if you want to, you can.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, okay, let's see what else they say about freedom of speech in this video.
the sort of thing that can land you in jail in countries that don't have strong free speech protections. Or should I say, you would be put in jail. Don't put me in jail. Oh, that's right, I'm in the US, it doesn't matter. The stories of oversensitive kings and dictators silencing people who question their rule or even make jokes at their expense are too numerous to recount. But for the most part, that kind of thing doesn't happen in the US, which is why no one gets arrested for carrying around a giant picture of Obama as Hitler, or former President Bush as a monkey. Well, that stuff's okay as far as the First Amendment is concerned, but that doesn't mean it's respectful or in good taste. The second thing to remember is that the First Amendment protects you from the government doing things that try to deny your speech, but not anyone.
So this is a good point about the First Amendment in the United States. This protects people from the government limiting your speech. It doesn't protect you from other people limiting your speech. So if you say something offensive at work, your boss can fire you. If you say something offensive to your coach, you can get kicked off the team. The First Amendment doesn't help you with this. It only helps you when it's the government who's trying to limit what you say. let's go to another video. So this video is an example of someone who is being racist. He sees that a person who's holding the camera is black, and he starts to say offensive things to them.
This chimp right here.
What'd you say?
Fucking nigger right here with a fucking mop on his head. I don't give a fuck. He's milking my fucking tax dollars.
So, what do you think about this? What do you think about racism and saying offensive things about someone's race?
The person could not decide where to be born. So it's really offensive.
I think that
Rude.
it's rude. I think that most times when we say offensive things, though, it's about something that a person didn't choose, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not really different from other offensive things.
This is much more different because if you, for example, during an argument with someone, will try to
During an argument, try to
Just lost connection. Wait for it.
Well, we'll see what happened with this guy, because actually after he said all these things on the camera, actually he went on to be even ruder.
But can you turn off your microphone?
Well, that's a lazy fucker. I'm stupid. I actually want people to have a fucking job. You go ahead and sit on your fucking chair, be a lazy fucking nothing. Oh, you ain't taking it out of here.
We are peaceful. We do not need your.
So he actually was making sounds like a monkey to the guy behind the camera. Check that out again.
Oh, peaceful.
So long.
Very offensive. Very, very offensive.
This only shows his level of culture. Nothing more, nothing less.
Has anything like this ever happened to you when you traveled abroad or lived abroad?
I will leave abroad soon, so ask me then.
Where are you moving to, and where are you moving from?
I'm moving from Moldova to Germany.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll come across this when you move there, but I know that when I lived in Russia, for example, a lot of people said rude, offensive things and things that are completely false or not based in facts. And at first I thought, that's wrong. That's why do they say this stuff? They're uncultured. And then later I understood that it's actually funny that people say these things, and it kind of gives you
jealous.
Yeah, but the thing is that I will tell you like now something about the human nature, how we are built actually, because for example, in US came some people from my country, yeah, and they did some shift there, let's say, stole something from a market or beat someone in the street, let's say, whatever, doesn't matter. And after that, like all the people there will think that all the Moldavians are like that.
Mm-hmm.
But actually this is not true, because you cannot judge all the population of a country according to just a few guys that showed a lot of disrespect in your country. But this is how actually how the world is built, and how people usually make their impressions according to just few people. And after that, if more other people from my country will go there, they will treat them in this way. Like they saw that guys, all the Moldavians, all the all the nationalities like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yes,
and just throw the students there from Russia, and they don't know anybody from Moldova. It's a stereotype. Someone from Ukraine, someone from Belarus, someone from Moldova. They're all Russian.
No, Moldova is not Russia.
No.
But it's a stereotype. A lot of people.
Russia doesn't want us. I say no.
But a lot of people in the United States, they really don't understand the difference. But honestly, from people from Moldova, do you speak Russian?
Yes.
Okay.
I can, the new generation that is coming after me, not really. I guess less part of them, but like my generation and older than me, a big part of them, they are speaking Russian. We studied in the school, so.
Yeah,
actually. Sorry, go ahead.
Same in Ukraine. The new generation don't speak Russian.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
Because it's like patriotic feeling. They try to, like, it's different culture, different feeling, different.
Just Ukraine want independence.
Yeah,
maybe it's a bit. No, maybe it's a bit of patriotic feeling, but more it's that it's not. You know, when I was student, some girls. It was really a funny thing that some girls, they had almost no idea about the Russian language, but you could sit on a bus and hear them talking in a very poor Russian, but it was like something cool if you could speak Russian. You were kind of, delight to, oh, you're speaking Russian, wow. Kind of something like this. But now this is not a trend anymore. It's a bit about patriotic feelings, some percent, but more it's not that, maybe even it's not that used anymore, and is not even now not that popular. People who know it, it's okay, but who doesn't know, it's not a disaster.
Now let's consider the situation differently. What if this was about English? For example, right now, if you go to India, you can speak English with a lot of people because a lot of people there know English and study English at school.
But
what would happen?
Special English. It's not
they have
real.
special. Okay, they have their own type of English. It's a lot of mixes with other local languages, and they have a lot of different local languages. But I mean, just imagine that if India wanted to have more patriotism and said, we don't need English, we should all speak Hindi, or we should all speak another language. Wouldn't it be more difficult for you as a Russian or Moldavian or Ukrainian person?
Well, I cannot tell you from the perspective like Moldavian compared to, or let's say my country we speak Romanian. So Romanian compared with English and with Russian, I cannot tell you which of them was harder for me to learn, because English I loved very much, but I didn't have the opportunity to learn it in school. And I learned it by myself. But with Russian, it was a bit different. But in some cases, I think that Russian can be more difficult than English.
Right. I'm not asking about which language is more difficult. I'm saying that in general, for you, traveling to another country, if that country speaks English, that's easier for you. Exactly. Because you speak English and you're able to communicate with people there instead of learning a completely new language. For me, it's the same. If I travel to Moldova, I speak Russian. I can speak to other people in Russian, but if
Yep.
everyone forgets Russian and doesn't speak Russian anymore, I need to learn Romanian or another language.
Yeah.
So in this case, we have to invent one common language.
And
I
so right
guess
now,
we already
that's,
have it.
exists. You know, guys, it exists. I forgot the special name for that. That was the language invented for Esperanto. Exactly. That was the language actually, or lingua franca, yeah, for business, as I remember at first, just to give people the opportunity to communicate with each other in one language instead of learning many others.
No, they
Yeah.
want to just Kitai, but
Huh?
they want to many people. It was easy language and the
I
whole
tried
world.
to learn. Yeah, it's easy language. I can speak a bit.
Mhm.
But still, you know, English is international language, so that's nice news for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anne also wrote, sign language is the best, no need to learn any language. Actually, Anne, that's not true because there are different types of sign language in different countries.
Really?
Really, there's American Sign Language, there's a different
I thought it's
Yeah,
international.
of course.
different sign
No.
language in different places. And there's also international sign language, but there are different types of sign language too.
Oh, I remember something that, for example, the sign of thumbs up can be offensive in any countries and can be understood absolutely differently. Not like, that I like something, but can mean just maybe I say the F word for you.
Yeah, this is true. This symbol, this expression can be like this in some places, this gesture. Yeah. So, okay, let's check out another. Actually, that racist guy who we were just watching, he lost his job.
Now, this update is something that just happened maybe about an hour ago. Now, we just posted the video of the racist man harassing protesters and the African-American man. And people was trying to identify who this man is, and this man's name is John Passon. They also found out he didn't work for Rex Energy. He worked for a company called MMC Land Management, and we will show the evidence of what happens to this racist for calling people out of their name.
So, the result of his offensive language was that he lost his job. We also saw, as we talked about earlier, the woman who posted the picture from the gym commenting about someone being fat. She also more or less lost her job. She had a sponsorship from a company and they just cut ties with her. What I don't agree with this, actually. I think that a person should be able to say anything that they want, and why should they be fired for that? I understand that the company wants to protect their image and they feel that their image is connected to celebrities who they sponsor. That's clear. And when the celebrity says something that makes the company look bad, then they have to cut ties with them. But also this mentality and this behavior of firing anyone who says anything offensive, it's also very dangerous. As we discussed earlier, who knows who you're going to offend? Maybe you make a comment about something, and later it turns out that someone was offended by that. Now you lost your job. Is that really fair for expressing your own opinion?
That sounds
Also,
fair. You know,
yeah, if we're not allowed to express our own opinions, then it's like slavery, isn't it? That this company owns us. We're not even allowed to have our own thoughts.
the idea I wanted to share is that if you offended someone, that person should tell you about that. That person should not do something secretly of you and go to your boss, complain about you or something. It's just between two people, and they have to discuss about that. So it's unfair from another person who can complain to the boss.
Yeah, but we see that this happens pretty often. So let's check out another.
You know why the tomato turned red? It saw the salad dressing. Me, I don't care if somebody's 6'10" or 4'9". You know what I mean? Just the same way I don't care what color somebody's skin is. I can't imagine what that must be like.
So the man that we see on this video, he is blind. So he can't tell us if someone is fat or if someone is black or if someone's white or someone has these differences that we seem to think are so important. He can't understand. So here he describes how he understands these differences.
You know, to have different color skin. It's just not something I really think about too much. I just think about people. And I think about if we have fun together and if we like each other, you know? If somebody makes me laugh, it doesn't matter if they're, you know, tall or fat or skinny or black or green or whatever. I just like them and we have a good time together. Beauty, I don't know from beauty whether or not I like them. That they wear, by the shoes that they wear.
So as you understand, he can't see anything. He can't see these differences between people, and he doesn't really think they're important. I think that this is an interesting perspective. I'll send that to you in the chat. Let's check out another example. So this is the story I was telling you about.
Playboy Magazine's Playmate of the Year 2015 is being called out for fat shaming.
That was absolutely wrong and not what I meant to do.
29-year-old Danny Mathers is apologizing today after she posted this image of a woman getting undressed in the gym locker room with the rude caption, "If I can't unsee this, then you can't either." Danny Mathers has 500,000 followers on Instagram and more than 1 million on Facebook. When the controversial image went out on her popular Snapchat account, reaction was swift and all negative. That poor woman's naked body is circulating the internet when she never intended it to. It's really heartbreaking, wrote one woman. And this, it's people like you that make others uneasy about changing openly in locker rooms. And this simple one-word rebuke for Mathers, vile. The model quickly tried to make amends, claiming she only meant to send the image to a friend.
So, what do you think about this?
The most offensive was phrase there. She used the phrase that offended actually. She could pretend as if it was not on the purpose. Like she did, she took this photo and just at first did not notice, for example. And people could make from this maybe a joke even. But after this phrase, people understand that differently. And she showed her surprised face, and I don't know, maybe she didn't want to offend so much, but still she had to think, you know, she understood, I guess, that she looks better, really better. So it was like insulting.
But should she be limited from saying things like this? I think that she should be allowed to say this if she really wants to.
She can't say, but she posted that in public. So it's the problem. We can say everything while nobody sees and hears us.
Right, but today in our modern world, almost anything that you say or do is public because there are cameras everywhere. Everyone's watching.
Say in public, but get ready that you can get many messages that will offend you.
Yeah, and that's someone's right to say that to me. I think.
Will you be getting offended if someone tells you?
Swallow all that? If somebody will offend you all the time, will you swallow it? Will you not act against it?
I think that that's an element of self-control that every person should develop. Of course, someone can have an emotional reaction. Actually, you might know that I do music and make different videos, and I put everything in public also. So actually, I get a lot of people writing me and saying rude things to me. And sometimes I feel some strong emotional reaction to this, but I always remind myself that, you know, when you have this emotional reaction and when you react to what someone says, you're just encouraging them. You just let them win. And by ignoring it and by controlling yourself, you show that they don't control you, you control you. You control yourself. And if someone else can make a rude comment and force you to react, that means that they control you.
But what if it's not only online, but they will get your, for example, let's say your address, they will send you some offensive letters, they will some transparents in your, just draw something on your walls. So will you just, oh, I will ignore them, let them do whatever they want? It's freedom. They can do whatever they want.
Right, and it's freedom for me to do what I want too. And that's the thing about this woman, about the fat shaming, or the post that she posted with the woman's body. I think that she should be able to say whatever she wants, and she should also be ready to deal with the consequences. So yeah, I think that a person can say rude things to me, send rude things to me, draw rude things. People can do that if they want, but you know, there may be consequences, and those they should be ready for those consequences.
Okay, thanks.
So it looks like that's all of our time for today. I'm going to send some more videos into the chat that I wanted to show you, but I didn't get to. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot for joining today, and thanks for participating to everyone. I feel like we had more discussion today than we have in the past, and that was great. So I hope next time it continues to be like that.
Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Take care.